RMA Team Radio.
Hello, and welcome to this brand new edition of 5 Round MMA. My name is Alex Ramirez. Alongside is my co-host, Albert Sita. How's it going, Albert?
It's going good.
Got a lot to talk about this week. Got GSP back in the news. Got getting called out by Michael Bisping. Talk about Urijah Faber announces his retirement, all that good stuff. And also, Anthony Pettis had a pretty big scare over this past week. So let's jump right into it. Let me get my timer started here. And I know we got also expecting a phone call from our other correspondent, Guillermo Sita, anytime soon. He's out there being a father, so when he calls in, he'll call.
I can't relate to that.
Can't relate to that, neither can I. So let's get started with round number one. So I want to talk about former UFC heavyweight champion Fabricio Verdum has been relieved of his commentary duties on the UFC Spanish broadcast side of things because of a meme he put on.
He erased the Reebok logo and
put the Nike logo over his official UFC kit, and he actually said too, "I'm unsatisfied with the Reebok deal, and I want to negotiate with Nike."
I just want him to know that I think he kind of insulted both of them because I'm pretty sure Nike's like, okay, we see what you're saying, but we don't design like Reebok, bro, and nor will we ever make that type of fighter kit.
And second, who says we even want you on our on our payroll?
Yeah,
but I mean, all jokes aside, this is a pretty big deal. This is like again. The UFC's continue to punish fighters and employees for being outspoken and speaking out of turn, speaking ill of the Reebok deal. I mean, the first one I remember was Stitch, the corner man, for some reason. He's no longer allowed to work UFC events. Now Verdum is no longer allowed to earn extra money as a commentator for the UFC because he expressed his thoughts. I mean, we have former fighters leaving for Bellator and for other organizations because they want more sponsorship deal. But is this the dictatorship of the UFC, or is it, you know what, you guys are contracted under us, you do what we say type of thing?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, this is the only part that, like, I mean, even though the deal sucks or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, the NFL, they all abide by it. Like, for example, like when Kaepernick was, he was sponsored by Beats. He had to wear Bose headphones if he was being shown in the NFL TV.
Yeah.
So you just gotta follow the rules. Yeah, you don't like it, whatever. No one says you can't be a sponsor of something else.
Yeah, it's just a little more work on their part, right? Because they can't go and like represent another company while they're on, pay-per-view or television. If they a lot more now. I see like these meet and greets and come meet here where they're they're repped out with their sponsors, but that's a little more work for the fighters where they'd be a training camp. Then they got to put a couple hours aside out of their day and go sign a bunch of autographs that way, or they do more media appearances outside of the UFC. Then maybe they could be sponsorships. But I mean, at first, the Nike deal, the Reebok deal is like, okay, it's unfair in a way, but I was watching some of the old fights from the UFC, and it actually looks better with the Nikes, doesn't it?
Yeah, when they had the few handful athletes that actually rock Nike, it looks really, really nice.
Yeah.
Well, then again, I never liked the Reebok design of these fighter kicks, but I think the only thing that they should probably like take away is like I think at the open workout, the weigh-ins and at the fight, they have to wear Reebok.
Yeah.
But other than that, they should be able to wear whatever sponsor they have out there. And I think that would kind of quiet them down, because in all reality, like, they're over there complaining stuff like that, but every athlete has to deal with the sponsorship thing. I mean, like, Lakers can be sponsored by Adidas, be it Kobe has the hugest Nike deal ever, and he never had an issue about putting on that jersey, right?
Yeah, or what was it?
Or the sweatpants during the game, during the practice. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like with there's Gatorade bottles they drink out of and water cups, but Kobe has his own
body armor.
Yeah, body armor drink. So,
but he's still able to make money off that. So I to tell you the truth, I think these guys just if they really want to be sponsored by anything, they go be it.
Yeah.
Go market yourself. Don't complain because in the fight you can't wear your sponsor's thing. Then make commercials. Do it when you're going training.
I wonder if there's like some sort of compromise they can do, because honestly, I don't, even though they don't look nice to me, the Reebok kits.
Yeah,
it does look better than when they're like, if I watch Bellator, which is fine, like I get distracted now by the guy's shorts.
Yeah.
It looks kind of weird.
No, it's true, because when that was the first thing I noticed when I watched Bellator, and I was like, oh my gosh, all these freaking logos.
Like
yeah, it doesn't look right, and that's the way they should treat it. Instead of keep crying about like the sponsor, it's a jersey.
Yeah.
End of the day, it's a jersey.
Yeah.
The Patriots wear a jersey sponsored by Nike, Adidas, or Reebok, whoever makes the contract for the NFL that year. Yeah. And guess what? You still see Tom Brady and everything else.
Yeah, but do you think maybe? I mean, yeah, I can understand maybe the sponsorship on the fight and on what they wear, the fight gear. But maybe you think they could bring back the banners? Will that help? I mean, you only see him for a couple seconds anyways. I know Dana White hated him, but
yeah, I think even the banners is kind of ghetto though. Yeah. Like it still looks amateur. I always understood why he did it.
Yeah,
because you gotta look.
Looks nice,
yeah, you gotta look like a professional sport, not like some freaking ragtag organization.
Yeah, I was rewatching the Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey the first time they fought in the UFC, and it looked kind of because Miesha Tate was wearing that pink thing, and you know how she had a bunch of sponsors all over. Then Ronda Rousey she had minimal sponsorship because she was sponsored by the UFC and anything else. It looked a big contrast between the two, and it actually looked kind of awkward and a little bit like this is. I'm used to seeing the Reebok kit now, so I mean. It looks good on TV because it's like I said, it's a uniform.
Yeah. But another thing too, like just to show them, I know over time, but
yeah, go ahead.
If like pro wrestlers, they tweet and Instagram sponsors all day long.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and you never hear them complain that they can't bring it in. I mean, Brock Lesnar's the only one that could, but you don't hear Seth Rollins, all them complain about it, but yet they still can make money off their social media accounts.
Yeah, true. And also, remember we were talking about GSP last week. This is because this whole Reebok deal was Under Armour thing. So, I mean, well, that's it for round number one. But we'll get into GSP coming up next. But, I mean, this thing is not going to go away. I don't think Reebok's just going to stay as long as fighters need to make money. It's going to be a griping that they have. So, that's it for round number one. But before I want to jump into round number two, we have talk about sponsorships and clothing. Talk about some nice clothing here. I have on a 5 Round shirt. It's one of our main sponsors. 5 Round's clothing line offers a unique collection of MMA apparel and accessories. They incorporate the culture, style, and attitude of MMA in their clothing line. They're consistently evolving and improving to become the best fightwear company possible in the MMA world. They make the fighter and fight fan look good. I mean, if you see the stuff, they sponsor Muay Thai fighters, jiu-jitsu competitors, all this good stuff, and they all love the gear. So please check out their fine line of t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and other great accessories at 5rounds.clothing. And follow them on Twitter and Instagram at 5roundswear on Twitter, and Instagram at 5rounds_. It's the number 5 rounds. And then, again, 5rounds.clothing. Get it on. So we'll come back for round number two in just a bit, talk about GSP and Michael Bisping. Welcome back, time for round number two. So we ended the first round mentioning GSP and his Under Armour deal. He was in the news again this past week. He's been in the news for like the past month now, talking about his return to the UFC, and then that got stifled by contract negotiations. He was saying that he's no longer under contract. UFC said, yeah, you are, blah, 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 blah. What I was interested in was that Michael Bisping came out of nowhere and said, I had a verbal agreement with GSP to fight at UFC 206 in Toronto, and GSP never signed a contract. He's going to be kind of almost on a tear now to go after GSP. The thing that said a tweet out saying, hey, GSP, we all want money, but I want a fight better or something like that. And then he called out GSP, tagged him, and GSP responded ever so the gentleman, a video response. He made a point to be decked out in Under Armour shirt, Under Armour pants and everything. And so you see, you know, Bisping, I love to fight you, but I'm on good terms now with Dana, and he mentioned a couple other names. I think we're the new ownership. We're on good terms now, but we're still talking. But hopefully I'll fight you in the future. UFC 206 ain't gonna happen, you know. And classy response, I say from GSP. I get
a little bit too classy.
I get a lot of heat from you guys because, especially Guillermo and Jason, who kind of make fun of me for being a GSP fan, but whatever. So I mean, but Michael Bisping, like nobody's pointing this guy. This guy's calling out a fighter who's not under contract. Mm-hmm. I mean. You guys are calling. Everybody's calling GSP a wuss, and he's running away from a challenge, and he doesn't want to fight Nick Diaz. Doesn't want to fight. But come on, guy, Michael Bisping. Why are you calling a guy who's under contract negotiations for, Bill?
My whole thing though is like, how exactly is the process to being a champion? Because obviously, Michael Bisping was looking around to see what best fight is for him, rather than looking at the rankings, right?
Yeah.
Because he pretty much turned on everybody by trash talking to him, saying you gotta beat so and so, you lost to who and who or whatever. And then I guess he was just entered GSP. Matter of fact, I'm not even mad though, because I kind of like the fight. But
I think it's an easy win for GSP.
Yeah, I think he was just gonna take him down and leave him there.
Yep.
But that shows you like
it's a bad thing, bro.
I don't know if it's the new owner ownership that GSP couldn't get along with, or is it with Dana White and some of those old people from the Zuffa era?
Yeah.
That is the reason he can't get it done. But the fact that GSP, who I think is probably the most reasonable person out there as a fighter, like as far as like I mean, the fact that he did that video, which was classy, I'm pretty sure he's not very like hard to negotiate. I think as long as you're fair, I don't see why he wouldn't agree. Which to me brings up a red flag. Where if it's the Under Armour thing, then okay, I understand. GSP just has to make more money because he has a bigger sponsorship with Under Armour. But at the same time, if it's I don't understand how you cannot negotiate with GSP.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been too. He said he wants to come back, put me in the. It's like it's all been kind of one sided so far. I think maybe they might have took that for granted, the UFC side. Well, if you want to come back so bad, here's the offer we're going to give you. Well, I thought you want to come back so bad, so sign it. I mean, maybe his representation is really good. He has maybe like a good agent, good manager, and they're kind of saying, hey, this isn't really worth it for you. I mean, your name alone will. If Conor McGregor's doing this much money, and before him, you're the biggest star that this company had, maybe you should be on the level of compensation with the Conor McGregor, if not more. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I wonder how that goes. Is he even like part of it or like?
Yeah, but supposedly even in the contract it says there's only like one fight left on the contract supposedly, right? If you remember Alberto Del Rio when he got cut from the when he got cut from the WWE, the big thing was that he was trying to prove that WWE cannot legally they cannot not let him work.
Yeah.
Like he has to be able to work. That's illegal.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is in Canada, but it feels that way now too because it's like how is GSP supposed to work if they're just going to hold on to that last fight?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure there's a way out of it, especially in either Canadian court or the legal system in the United States because you can't. It's illegal for you not to allow somebody to work. But yeah, I just think it's kind of weird. Like I think it's gonna get resolved sooner rather than later. I think it's too much. It makes too much sense.
It just sucks for the Canadian fans because now they lose out in their Canadian hero and they got settled for some Americans now.
Yeah, or like Michael Bisping's coming. Like for some reason he really wants to fight in Toronto because he thinks that's like his. I'm the.
No one cares about you in Toronto.
Yeah, so like after
just because you film one movie there doesn't mean you're part of the.
So it's a quote he said. If not GSP, this is Michael Bisping quote here. If not GSP, I don't mind being on the card against somebody else, and Nick Diaz would be somebody else that moves the needle. I think he told us on the Sirius XM show, The Countdown. Now again, I know this is going to open myself to criticism saying that, but there's been talk of us having a fight before. His last fight was against Anderson Silva. He's fought at 185. If Nick Diaz wants to do it, I will fight Nick Diaz, end quote. So Michael Bisping just wants to fight for the Toronto people, man. Toronto, he wants to give you.
He's a true Torontian.
True Torontian. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't think Bisping will probably fight at UFC 206. I don't think.
Well, as it stands right now, they only have 4 people in the main card. They usually like to have 5. So, there is a slot open.
Make something happen. So that's it for round number 2. Stick around. We'll come up and talk about the interesting influx of former UFC heavyweights going over to Europe and Japan. So it should be kind of interesting to see. But before we do that, I want to talk about one of our great sponsors, Rockin Green Cleaning Products. Rockin Green is an award-winning manufacturer of eco-friendly cleaning products and design to make cleaning easier and greener. I'm all about greener, organic stuff. Shop at Whole Foods.
Of course.
I mean, I don't want to brag, but just it is what it is, you know. Rockin Green products are the best laundry detergents and all natural cleaners because they are made with biodegradable plant-based ingredients. They are septic and gray water safe, and they're never tested on animals. Please visit rockingreen.com for more information to shop all their great line of products and follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So that's it. We'll take a small break, come back for round number 3 and talk about the rise of the heavyweights. Welcome back. Time for round number 3. I really wish our correspondent Guillermo Cita was on the phone with us now because he is an unofficial heavyweight expert on the show. And this round's going to be focusing on 2 notable former now UFC heavyweights who are I guess greener pastures. The grass is always green on this side.
It's you got only one option, and that's to head over the bridge.
Head over the Atlantic and go over or the Pacific, where they fly. But Bigfoot Silva let his contract run out. UFC is probably happy. You know what? You've lost 6 in a row. I don't remember what he lost, Bigfoot. But they let him go, and now he signed on pretty quickly to a Russian promotion to fight a young fighter who I forgot the promotion off the top of my head, but think it's coming up in December or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Most of their events are in December, and there must be a very Christmas crowd.
Maybe it's kind of, he retweeted it and on his Instagram account, but he retweeted the Russian version of it, and he explained it with Portuguese words, so I didn't take time to translate it. So, but also too, former title contender, or I think interim heavyweight champion Shane Carwin is going to make his return to MMA. He announced it a while ago and said he's up for negotiations.
Yeah.
I think, except for the UFC, right? He's like, UFC if they do it. Maybe or not, but that kind of fell apart. People thought for sure he'd go to Bellator. Didn't happen. Another organizations don't really have much depth in the heavyweight, especially the World Series of Fighting.
And
but
he currently doesn't have an opponent, but he is scheduled
he
for
signed with the Risen promotion, like the guys behind Pride, their new kind of Pride-esque, heavy on the entertainment side of the sport. He signed with them to enter their tournament. He tweeted out saying their gloves are way too small and that you get bigger gloves by the time I start. But I think he said he wanted to fight Fedor. There was something with the Russian promotion that was going to happen, but Fedor's management backed out last minute, or they didn't like them. Something didn't happen. So like now he's hoping to sign with Risen.
I think it was Shane Carwin didn't want to take the Russian money to drop in the second.
Oh,
so.
there you go. That's what it is. I'll take the Japanese money to jump in the third. So he entered the Risen tournament. I think is it Rampage, isn't it?
No. The main ones is Krokop and Vanderlei, who are facing actually in the second round. I think the way the bracket worked, they were supposed to face each other like at the end or semifinals, but for some reason they both said, "Nah, let's get it over with," and they're facing each other like in the second round now.
I think Rampage was a rumor they wanted to try.
Get Rampage, but as of now, they do not have the upcoming card.
Yeah.
The main players are Krokop, Vanderlei, and then Shea Carwin, but obviously he doesn't have an opponent yet.
They might get Fedor on that card. So I mean, I know they're old heavyweights. None of them were making any moves, but they're going away from money. I mean, the heavyweight division in the UFC is shallow as it is. It just got even more shallow with two guys leaving.
Yeah,
one guy leaving, another guy.
And it was rumored that Bigfoot was getting $500,000 to go fight
for the Russians.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm pretty sure he wasn't making that type of money in UFC.
Probably not. But I mean, is this kind of now? This is now. I want to say, is this time for the young guys to step up in the heavy division? But there are no young guys.
That's the part that I honestly thought, like, even though with Bigfoot losing like the last 3 or 4 or whatever, I thought he still would have a job just because.
I think he still stayed. He probably could have stayed, but he said, I want to release from the UFC. So I think he wants to get back on that TRT, I think, right?
Ever since he got caught with TRT, it's been a downward spiral. But, I mean, literally, if you look at the top 15 of the heavyweights, do you know who Tim Johnson is?
No.
Okay, do you know who Daniel Orman is?
I think so. It's the French guy, right?
Yeah. Francis Negmanono?
No.
See, and then you got the usuals: Stefan Struve, Roy Nelson, Travis Brown. I mean,
it's kind of funny too that we all know that the relationship with UFC, Dana White, and Roy Nelson's always been kind of rocky, right? It's not very solid. And I kind of see Roy Nelson's one guy just kind of jumping and leaving one day. And this we talked about it in the round one about Fabricio Verdum getting relieved of his television duties because he wants to, different sponsorship. Do you think these guys maybe just leaving and bouncing when their contracts are up anymore? Like, do they even want to stay in the UFC? I mean, these high-profile names, because Verdum could go over to Bellator and fight for Scott Coker. He could go over to World Series of Fighting. He could go over to Risen because he has a name in Japan and just get a $500,000 paycheck just because on his name alone. Same thing for Roy Nelson. I mean, remember he would fight that one time in Japan. The people loved him.
Yeah, imagine if they do Fabricio Verdum versus Fedor Part 2 in Russia. Yeah. That's money.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's showing that he doesn't like the Reebok deal and stuff like that. Hey, who knows? Maybe that is an option. I think, no lie, if he loses very badly against Cain Velasquez, I would not be surprised if he gets out of his contract or if his contract runs out and you see him fighting the Russian or Japanese promotion because they'll eat him up alive. Like, they love that.
Yeah.
They love some Verdum.
Oh, worst case scenario is go to Bellator. I mean, like.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of
especially since if you think UFC has a lack of heavyweights, Bellator has even more.
Yeah. So interesting to see what the landscape of the heavyweight division has in 2017. Will it be same old, or we'll see some changes? I'm hoping for the latter, see some changes about the division. But we'll take a small break and come back and enter the championship round. Talk about Urijah Faber announced his retirement, and Anthony Pettis had a pretty big scare in front of his house. So that's going to be stuff we're going to dig into when we come back from the break. But before we do that, I want to talk about one of our main sponsors, one of this a cause that we've been behind for a long time now. Talk about Redemption Martial Arts. Excuse me. The Redemption Martial Arts Foundation is a nonprofit organization with the primary goal of bringing awareness and providing people with accessible resources and training to help them combat bullying confrontations, whether it be online or on the schoolyard or even at work. The RMA consists of individuals who work all walks of life, martial arts background, kind of like a verbal judo, verbal jiu-jitsu type of thing, to avoid these confrontations, without, violence doesn't negate violence type of thing, to avoid these confrontations without using violence, using your words, and just kind of stand up for yourself. But these people who are former martial artists, people who have been bullied, performed bullies, it's a really great cause. So if you're interested in being a member of Team RMA or just want information, just go to redemptionmartialarts.com, and they're also on all social media platforms. So please check it out, and you won't regret it. So rise up against bullying, everybody. Team Redemption Martial Arts. Don't go anywhere. Championship rounds coming up next. Welcome back. Time to enter the championship rounds. We're going to start the round number 4 with kind of a bittersweet news. Everybody's favorite California kid. The only California kid. Everybody's favorite, the California kid, Urijah Faber, announced that he's going to retire after his upcoming bout against Brad Pickett in December. Albert, you have the exact date, right? December 17th. UFC on Fox, I believe in San Jose or Sacramento.
It's going to be in Sacramento, California.
Hometown.
The Golden One Center.
So he said, this is it for me. I am done after this fight. This isn't a championship bout, so he's not going to go out a UFC champion. The gold that he so coveted had eluded him for his career. But just thoughts on Urijah Faber announced his retirement. Do you think it's time, or do you think he has more left in him?
I think there's still a couple of interesting fights out there for him.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for the title, but there is some interesting fights. Obviously, the TJ Dillashaw one we never got to see.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a couple more that you probably could have mixed them in there, and it would have been really good fights. But he has always been considered, I think, a champion, but without the belt.
Yeah, well, because he's super popular.
Yeah, especially all the winning streaks he's gone in, and how many opponents he's defeated. I mean, the guy just has like of who's who of who he's beat.
Yeah,
in his weight class.
He's 37 years old. He's coming off with 2 straight losses right now, Dominic Cruz and Jimmy Rivera. But I kind of see. I think he still has. The guy looks great. He's obviously always been in shape. I mean, he has good genetics. He looks like he's 20. He looks like he's 17, not 37 still. I have a feeling that maybe he may not be done after this.
Yeah, well,
especially with like Bellator's right there. I mean, Scott Coker's a NorCal guy. Strike Force was based out of San Jose, which is right next door to Sacramento. I have trouble believing that he's done fighting completely. Yeah,
it's funny because I guess TMZ, actually TMZ been reporting MMA pretty good. And they did talk to Urijah Faber, and Urijah Faber even said it that this, he's for sure knows that this is going to be probably his last fight because he has a bunch of projects coming up. But he says never say never because he's never the type of guy to be completely out of something.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, if someone pisses him off or like someone starts talking trash, who knows, he might be willing to step in there.
Yeah.
So with that said, I can see him maybe taking a year off doing his project, stuff like that, and maybe we'd still be able to see that TJ Dillashaw fight
in Bellator. But I think he's gonna. I mean, he could have a chance to maybe get one like Bellator championship.
Yeah, but see, the thing about Urijah Faber too is if you watch him on like Embedded or any of the backstage stuff, the guy actually has his life in order. Like he actually invested money the right way. He has a lot of good investments, and he even spoke about like future projects that he's currently working on. So I think when a fighter has done, has used his money right, it's easier to walk away from fighting in MMA, and I don't think the urge will be necessarily there.
Yeah.
Maybe as a competitor, but as far as like trying to make that money, no, because you secure yourself. And it's funny because I always see pro wrestlers like that. The pro wrestlers that can walk away and be okay with it are the ones that save their money, invest their money, and they're fine with it.
Yeah, I think he has Team Alpha Male. He just, that's always in his back pocket. I mean, they have the Alpha Male podcast. You see him just doing stuff in the media afterwards. Anyways, I think whatever he wants. But I think he has more left to fight. I mean, Bellator MMA, their bantamweight champion right now is Eduardo Dantas, but he can go up to featherweight, maybe fight one of the pit bulls or something like that and do that. So he has a good chance to be bouncing to bantamweight and featherweight. There's there are matchups there, but I just don't see. I think he has one more big payday left in him. Bellator returns to San Jose and the whole entrance and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I think he's probably done the years. I just have Brad Pickett versus Uriah Faber's last fight ever.
and not to like throw shades at Brad Pickett, but
I mean,
I thought it would have been someone a little bit more meaningful than Brad Pickett. Brad Pickett has actually lost the last 4 out of his 5 fights. Francisco Rivera being the only one that he won, and it was a split decision. So I honestly thought it'll be a little bit more meaningful. It could be that the fact that Brad Pickett likes to stand up and exchange, and it could just be that they just wanted an exciting fight. If this was his last one, at least we can make it somewhat exciting.
Yeah, I mean, Bellator just had Joe Warren in the bantamweight division, but then the featherweight they have Pat Curran.
But even that, Joe Warren versus Uriah Faber, I think that's a pretty good matchup.
But featherweight they have Pat Curran, Bubba Jenkins, Chinzo Machida. And obviously Pitbull as well. So, I don't know. I think he's done, but in the UFC, but I don't think he's done fighting. Just because, and Daniel Strauss is the world champion too in the featherweight. So, I mean, credit is bad to Uriah Faber. If he wants to retire, he's earned it. Superstar, Hall of Famer for sure. Done a lot for the sport to make it grow. I mean, if you're just say alone Team Alpha Male, he's earned the Hall of Famer already. So, but I mean,
he's the only one that could have made Sacramento an MMA town.
There you go, man. So that's it for round number 4. Stick around. We're gonna get to round number 5. Close this round out with a little bit of a scary story. By Anthony Pettis, but he's okay. But we'll just talk about that next.
Is he all right?
Yeah. So before we do that, I want to talk about how we get some of these great stories from a reliable source, FightBookMMA.com. FightBookMMA.com is the only place where you can find the real combat news from all over the world, a website you can trust with accurate news from MMA, kickboxing, boxing, and local promotions from all over the world like UFC, Bellator, World Series of Fighting, RFA, King of the Cage, PBC, Golden Boy Promotions, Lionfight Promotions, all that good stuff. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's also a great podcast page where they put a bunch of MMA podcasts together all in one easy place for you to find. We're also on there as well, so check them out. Check us out on the podcast page at FightBookMMA.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll close things out with round number 5. All right, time for the 5th and final round. We're going to touch here a little scary subject with Anthony Pettis, who this past week had basically an assault on his home, vandalism. 2 or 3 of his cars.
Arson.
Arson were caught on fire right in front of his driveway, right in front of his house. Reports are saying that there was a car speeding up around the neighborhood, and then next thing you know, an explosion went out and his cars were on fire. I mean, luckily for Anthony Pettis, nobody was hurt. Hopefully, if it's just like this extreme fandom gone wrong, this is horrible. I mean, MMA fans are smarter than this. I like to think that we are, but this is like a senseless. If it was targeted, this is Anthony Pettis' house. Like if it wasn't random, and this is where Anthony Pettis lives at. Let's attack him. That's just stupid, especially since it's in his hometown of Milwaukee.
What's crazy is like Anthony Pettis has never really played the heel role. No. You get me? Like I'm not saying that like Michael Bisping or John Jones are hated that much. Yeah. But I think you would be it'll make just a little bit more sense if it was someone like that got attacked.
Yeah.
And but Anthony Pettis, like, sure, the guy's not very likable, but come on, like, I have never really seen, like, even if you look at the trolls out there that really hit the online real hard, they never really attack Anthony Pettis. So that was very weird, unless, like, he has some backroom deal that we don't know about. But
it was on in Milwaukee.
It's crazy because it was clearly like arson. They said that they threw like a fluid or something, and with the intentions to like burn it down. Yeah. And so that's just it's mind blowing that it happened to Anthony Pettis just because of what we know of him. It doesn't seem like the type of guy that would have that type of enemies.
Yeah, he actually did release a statement via Instagram. That's the official statement nowadays for everybody. He said, quote, "I am a fighter. I won't be defeated by this. I am also extremely confused and saddened by the events that occurred. I am grateful that no one was harmed by this cowardly act. My life, as well as my loved ones, were put in danger. I cannot understand why someone would want to hurt myself or my family. I will do everything I can to ensure that we find out who committed this crime and that they are prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I am constantly defending my choice to stay in the city regardless of the crimes that have been occurring lately. This is my home. I really hope the city that I rep has my back on this and helps by reporting anything they know about this." End quote. I mean, I'm not too sure. I'm not abrupt on Milwaukee crime stats, but it was just a random act of violence. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and
if they're attacking, like,
you usually hear like Chicago, Detroit.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, for some reason, was never on my radar as far as violent crimes.
I'm also pretty sure that Anthony Pettis doesn't live in, he lives in the nicer area.
Yeah, if you do look at his social media posts, the house looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's not gated. It doesn't look like he has a fence. Maybe he needs to change now. He needs to look into that. I mean, that's why a lot of people over here in the Hollywood Hills, sure, you can pass by Tom Cruise's house, but
you would know it.
Yeah, it's like, several yards away from the fence. He has a big old gated
trees everywhere.
Yeah, so maybe that's something to look into. It's funny because even Sergio Pettis posted the aftermath. So
it was a pretty funny selfie. He was smiling in it, but like the family's okay, but still, it's kind of
and it's funny too because when I was thinking about it when I heard about the incident. For some reason, I pictured the driveway a little bit longer because it said it didn't catch the house. But if you go back and look at the pictures, it's actually really close to the house. Yeah. So I think it could have been a lot worse. So that to me that alone is crazy. It's like, whoa, like, dude, that could have seriously ended really, really, really bad.
Yeah, he probably in the house. House could have caught fire, got way more in damages. But I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a random act. It seemed like it was targeted at Anthony Pettis, right?
It just seems very confusing to me why anybody would go that far with that. I mean, we don't know Anthony Pettis' personal life.
Yeah,
it could be like one of those. I don't know. It could be one of those Fast and Furious things where he races for pink slips and
Milwaukee Bratwurst inner circle.
I don't know. Maybe something personal, but as far as what we see him through the small interactions through the media and stuff like that, he seems like a pretty cool guy. And yeah, maybe he might rub some people the wrong way, but I don't think not to that extent.
Well, that's kind of. He was actually announced to fight with Max Holloway, right?
Yeah, the Max Holloway fight has been announced.
When's that?
It's going to be on UFC 206 that they're trying to make up for not having GSP.
So it actually should be a great fight. Actually, that's probably like a number one contender fight or championship fight or whatever the featherweight division it has.
Yeah, it's clearly a championship eliminator right there.
Should be great. Hopefully he can get past this situation, and whoever did this is
coward.
Captured by the law and
why don't you go hit up Anthony Pettis as MMA gym and tell him what's up, huh?
I mean, don't like burn out fire, but still, don't be a coward about it. But thankfully, Pettis and his family are safe, and this show is now over. Thankfully. That's it for this week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FiveRoundMMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. Subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, and Podomatic. And please visit FiveRoundMMA.com. I want to give a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Without them, this show would not be possible. Five Book MMA, Redemption Martial Arts, Rockin Green Eco-Friendly Cleaning Products, Rockin Green Cleaning Products, and then 5 Rounds Clothing. So I'm repping this shirt right now if you guys are watching on YouTube. Just thanks everybody for listening. Albert, what do you got?
Just want to thank everybody else for listening, and even though Guillermo isn't here, he is our executive producer, and thanks, Guillermo, for being the producer.
Catch you later.
You are now listening to FRMMA Radio.